Hi, everybody! We're back to offer recommendations for books, movies, music, and more that you can get for free with your Carmel Clay Public Library card. I'm Catherine, and I'm joined today by Reagan and Clyde the dog, Susan, and Sarah. Reagan and Clyde, what do you have for us today?
Hello, I have a YA novel by Sarah Crossan. It is called Being Toffee. I love this book because it had a lot of emotion in it. It's a really moving, painful story about a young girl named Allison who escapes an abusive situation at home involving her father. So she runs away and basically takes shelter in an abandoned shed behind Marla's house. She doesn't know Marla is living there. Marla is an elderly woman with dementia. And Marla comes out and sees Allison and mistakes her for a childhood friend named Toffee. And Allison goes with it because what else does she have? And the two strike up a mutually beneficial friendship. Marla is not very well taken care of. And Allison genuinely has affection for Marla. The story just reminds us how valuable intergenerational relationships can be. The book is written in verse, which I really loved because I was able to read it in one day. And I'm a slow reader, so it made me feel super successful. And 12-year-olds, I think the age could be 12 on through high school, on through middle, and on an adult. And the author said something that really resonated with me because I thought I was the only one who thought this. She said she wrote the book in verse, which she does a lot, to avoid the boring bits in the middle. And I thought, yeah. So I'm checking out all of her books from now on. Okay, so next we have Susan.
Hi, everyone. I went with a thriller, which is my normal genre, but I just finished reading the book The Searcher by Tana, and it was published just late last year. In it, we meet Cal Hooper. He's a retired Chicago police detective, and he's decided that he needs a complete and utter change of pace. So he purchases a small property in an idyllic rural village in Ireland. We're introduced to quirky crew of fellow farmers and shopkeepers as Cal seeks to become part of village life. He seems content with working on rehabbing his new home, taking long hikes through the countryside, and fishing in a nearby river. What he can't quite shake, though, is there's something wrong. It's that same feeling he would get when he was in Chicago before something really big went down. Someone's watching him, and that someone is 12-year-old Trey, who has heard that Cal is a police officer. Trey's brother has gone missing, and she wants Cal to help find her older brother. Cal initially resists any pleas for help. He's retired. He has no police resources anymore, and he's really has no interest in doing any more police work. But he does finally agree to look into the brother's disappearance. And as Cal keeps digging, he starts to realize that maybe this idyllic burg and its inhabitants are not quite so innocent. This is my first novel of Tana French's, and I could hardly put it down. The plot twists were excellent, and I absolutely did not anticipate the ending. I hope Ms. French decides to write another book about Cal Hooper. He's a wonderfully complex character, and I think there are more stories that can be made with him. I found myself at the end of the book going, okay, now what? All right, what's Cal going to do now? Come on now. So anyway, it's a great book. Highly recommend it. You can get it on our library catalog in regular or large print, an audio CD set, or a downloadable ebook or audiobook. What about you, Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I agree on Tana French. I think she is one of those sure bet authors that if you like thrillers, you are always going to like. So good recommendation there. The book I'm going to recommend that I'm enjoying right now is called The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. And this, again, is quite different than the other two recommendations. It is a very literary, historical fiction novel. And it is the love story between two young men, Samuel and Isaiah, who are enslaved on a plantation in Mississippi known as the Empty. And the story is told in alternating perspectives from various characters. Every chapter is from a different person's perspective, but the men's relationship is absolutely at the heart of this novel. It is super epic, and through their bond, they find tenderness and refuge. And of course, their circumstances otherwise are extremely tragic. And especially once one of their fellow enslaved captives turns on them. And the prose is absolutely beautiful. It is sparse, but of course, there are graphic depictions of the brutality that the enslaved people endured. This is Jones's debut book, and he is known online as the creator of Son of Baldwin. So a lot of people are already familiar with his writing, and I don't think they realize he has written a book. But I will say that readers of great like Baldwin, and that is James Baldwin, and Toni Morrison will absolutely hear echoes of their writing in this book. I also recommend this of fans for contemporary authors like Jesmyn Ward or Colson Whitehead, and people who loved Britt Bennett's The Vanishing Half, which was extremely popular with our patrons last year, will probably also enjoy this. And I know 2021 just began, but I really do think this book is going to end up on my favorites of the year, just because it is both beautifully written and it is just such, I think, an important and touching story. What do you have for us, Catherine?
Thank you all so much for your great recommendations. I just wrapped up Lakewood by Megan Giddings as part of the reading I'm doing for the library's Black History Month program. And if that sounds like something you would be interested in, you can get more information and sign up at carmel.beanstack.org. Lakewood is a really compelling and diverse horror debut from last year. I don't really feel right calling it horror, but if you're a fan of things like Handmaid's Tale or Octavia Butler and her works, you'll definitely want to check this out. This tale features a millennial college student by the name of Lena Johnson, and Lena Johnson's grandmother has been taking care of her sickly mother. And no one really knows quite what's wrong with her mother. There's no cure, there's no diagnosis. Her grandmother passes. So she has a mother who's sick, who has no health insurance. Bills are piling up. She has no money. So she drops out of college to help take care of her mother. And she's trying to grapple with how to take care of her, how to pay for all of the medical care that she needs. So she starts looking for jobs, and she gets an invitation to participate in, what else? A secret government project to experiment on African Americans. And if you've never done any actual historical research on this topic, this book might be a great gateway, even though it is fiction, to get you into that reading. The Lakewood Project is a series of research studies claimed to be about mind, memory, personality, and perception. So Lena feels like she has few choices. She takes the job. She signs a non-disclosure agreement. She can't tell anyone what she's going through. She has health insurance for her mom and money to take care of her, but she never anticipates the isolation that she feels by not being able to talk about the project and some of the horrifying side effects, like eye drops that turn her eyes blue, which is just the start. And as the truth about the experiment slowly reveals itself to her throughout the book, she finds a connection that almost answers her questions. So this book and many others that were mentioned today are available from the library either in print or through our Overdrive digital collection or our Hoopla digital collections. So thank you again to Reagan and Clyde, who's been a very good boy today, to Susan and to Sarah, and we hope you'll join us again next month for our March book chat. See you next time.